3.9 Special products of binomials. When we have certain binomials that are being raised to a power of 2, we can use a specific formula in order to make things a little bit easier for ourselves so we don't have to FOIL out or distribute. This formula that we have is a squared plus or minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. You get the a from the first term, the b from the second term. So if we look at example A, we have x plus 4 squared. The a is x, the b is 4. So if we're using a squared plus, because there's a plus sign in between these, 2 times a times b plus b squared, this is going to give us x squared plus 2 times a, which is x, times b, which is 4, plus 4 squared. So this is x squared plus 8x plus 16. If we look at example B, we have 3x plus 2y squared. So again, that 3x is a, that 2y is b. So we're using a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Remember, there's a plus sign in between. So we're going to use plus 2ab. So a squared is going to become 3x squared plus 2 times a, which is 3x, times b, which is 2y, plus b squared, so 2y squared. The 3x squared, remember this is 3x times 3x, so that's 9x squared. 2 times 3x times 2y is going to be 6x times 2y, which is 12xy. And then the 2y squared is like saying 2y times 2y, which is 4y squared. So 9x squared plus 12xy plus 4y squared. For C, we have 4 plus x squared, so that 4 is going to be our a. The x is our b. We have an addition sign there. So we're going to use a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So a is 4, so 4 squared plus 2 times a times b, which is x, plus b squared, which is x squared. So 4 squared is 16. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times x is 8x. And then x squared is x squared. For D, we have negative x plus 3 squared. So our a is our negative x. Our b is our 3. We have addition, so we're going to use a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So inside that a being squared, we're going to have a negative x squared plus 2 times a, which is negative x, times b, which is 3, plus b squared, which is 3 squared. So simplify this out. The negative x squared is just x squared. 2 times negative x times 3 is negative 6x, and 3 squared is 9. So x squared minus 6x plus 9. When we have a negative in between those two signs, we're using the same formula, except that sign in front of the 2 times a times b is going to be negative. So for a, we have x minus 5 squared. The x is our a, the 5 is our b. So we're going to use a squared. We have a negative there, minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So our a is x, so it's going to be x squared minus 2 times a, which is x, times b, which is 5, plus 5 squared. So x raised to the second power is x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, times 5 is negative 10x, and then that 5 squared is 25. So x squared minus 10x plus 25. For b, we have 6x minus 1, so that 6x is our a, that 1 is our b. We have a negative in between those two, so we're using a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So the a squared is going to become 6x raised to the second power minus 2 times a, which is 6x, times b, which is 1, plus b squared, so 1 raised to the second power. The 6x squared is the same thing as saying 6x times 6x, which is 36x squared. The negative 2 times 6x is negative 12x. Negative 12x times 1 is just negative 12x. And that 1 squared is just 1. So 36x squared minus 12x plus 1 would be our solution for this one. For our next example, we have 4x minus 3y squared. So the a is the 4x, the b is the 3y. We have a negative in between there, so we're using a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So the a squared would become 4x raised to the second power minus 2 times a, which is 4x, times b, which is 3y, plus b squared, which is 3y raised to the second power. So the 4x raised to the second power is going to be 16x squared. The negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x. Negative 8x times 3y is negative 24xy. Then that 3y raised to the second power is going to be a 9y squared. So 16x squared minus 24xy plus 9y squared. For d, we have 3 minus x squared raised to the second power. So that a is going to be our 3, and the b is going to be our x squared. We have a negative there, so we're using a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So fill in. We're going to have 3 raised to the second power minus 2 times 3 times x squared plus x squared raised to the second power. So the 3 squared is 9 minus 6x squared plus x squared raised to the second power is x to the fourth power. So we have 9 minus 6x squared plus x to the fourth power. When we have two binomials being multiplied by each other and their signs are different, so our a and our b are the same for each set of parentheses, but the signs in between a and b are different, are opposites, we can use the formula a squared minus b squared. So a is the same, b is the same, opposite signs, we can use a squared minus b squared. So our a for this one is going to be x, and our b is 6. So this is going to become x squared minus 6 squared. The x squared is x squared, and then keep the negative. The 6 squared is 36, so x squared minus 36. For b, we have x squared plus 2y times x squared minus 2y. Our a's are the same, our b's are the same. We have opposite signs, so we can use a squared minus b squared. Our a is x squared, our b is 2y. So plug these values in. We're going to have a squared, which is x squared raised to the second power, minus b squared, which is 2y raised to the second power. So remember, power raised to a power, we multiply those. X to the fourth power minus 2y raised to the second power is 4y squared. So x to the fourth power minus 4y squared. For c, we have 7 plus x times 7 minus x. Our a's are the same. Our b's are the same. We have opposite signs, so we're going to use a squared minus b squared. Our a is 7. Our b is x. So this is going to give us 7 raised to the second power minus x raised to the second power. The 7 raised to the second power is 49, minus the x raised to the second power is x squared. So 49 minus x squared. Some extra practice problems here. For 1, we have x minus 9 squared. We have a negative there, so we're going to use the a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So a is x, b is 9. So x squared minus 2 times x times 9 is going to be negative 18x, and then the 9 squared is 81. So x squared minus 18x plus 81. For 2, our a is x, our b is 5, so we're going to use the x squared. We have an addition, so plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. A is x, so that's going to be x squared. 2 times x times 5 is 10x 10x, and b squared is 25. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. For 3, we have y minus 6 squared. We have a negative there, so we're going to use the a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. Our a is y, our b is 6, so y squared. Negative 2 times y times 6 is negative 12y, and then that 6 squared is 36. So y squared minus 12y plus 36. For 4, we have y plus 12 squared. Our a is y, our b is 12. We have an addition sign here. So a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. A is y, so that's y squared. A positive 2 times y times 12 is 24y, and 24 squared is 144. So y squared plus 24y plus 144. For 15, we have an a of x and a b of 13. We have a negative in between those two, so a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. The a squared is x squared. Negative 2 times x times 13 is negative 26x, and then that 13 squared is a positive 169. So x squared minus 26x plus 169. For 6, our a's are both x's, our b's are both 10s. We have opposite signs, so we're using a squared minus b squared. So a is x, so that's going to be x raised to the second power minus b squared, so 10 raised to the second power. This is going to give us x squared minus 100. For 7, we have our x's that are both a's and 2's, which are both our b's. We have opposite signs, so we'll use a squared minus b squared. Plug these values in. We're going to have x raised to the second power minus 2 raised to the second power. So this is x squared minus 4. For 8, we have our x's that are both a's, our b's are both 11, opposite signs, so use a squared minus b squared. Plug in your values. You have x raised to the second power minus 11 raised to the second power, so this is going to end up as x squared minus 121. And that's our last one.